for you this evening? Well, those were the headlines we've been tracking for you this evening. US-based venture capital firm Alphatron Capital, formerly known as SMK Ventures, has announced the closing of its first fund. The fund has been oversubscribed by 20%, closing at $30 million, as against the initial target of $25 million. The fund aims to provide access to a diversified pool of India's technology and tech-leveraged companies while minimizing entry barriers for US investors. And to elaborate more, joining me now is Vishwesh Pai, the founding partner at Alphatron Capital. Vishwesh, welcome to Startup Street. And before we talk about your first fund, let's discuss your model. Alphatron Capital primarily operates as a fund of funds. You invest about 70 to 80% capital in about 10 to 15 VCs in India, and the remaining to make direct company investments in the portfolio companies of the funds. In fact, you've made 11 fund-of-fund investments and 5 special purpose vehicle or co-investments already. If you could talk to me about your investment thesis, how are you identifying and supporting tech-led funds and investment opportunities?
First of all, thanks for having us on the call. We are super excited to launch our first fund and close it way beyond what we started to. At a high level, our investment thesis is very straightforward. We are giving the best possible product for a US investor to have a diversified access to the India technology sector. And the way we do it is with a two-pronged strategy. One is our fund-of-fund strategy. We have already invested in 11 different funds based out of India. Plus, to give the extra mileage to our investors in US, we do co-invest along with these funds in various tech-based companies out of India.
All right, Vishwesh, let me also congratulate you on closing your first fund. If you could tell us how many startups you're looking to invest in and what will the ticket size be and by when do you start investing?
Yeah, great question. So we have already started investing directly in companies as well. We've already done 2 of these companies, which is Pixel, a space tech company based out of India and US. Second one is a Homeville, where we are riding the Indian fintech wave in terms of diversifying the portfolio for investors. In terms of how many are going to we invest, we're going to go at least 8+ direct investments beyond our fund investments in various sectors which are tech-based out of India. Our ticket sizes vary a lot. It can go up to $2 million depending on the right company we can invest.
All right. The fund seems to be sector agnostic. But Vishwesh, what areas are you looking at? Which sectors in technology are you betting big on?
Yeah, so we are very much bullish on SaaS and B2B SaaS and SaaS. All SaaS have now become AI SaaS. So definitely SaaS with AI/ML focus. No company today exists or should exist and focus beyond AI and Gen AI trend. Definitely very much bullish on that. Second is the fintech sector in India is very ripe. And there's a lot of investments like one we did in Homeville. We're going to do more of these in the future. Beyond that, we are definitely looking at health tech, digital content made for India in India, and also some of the D2C sectors.
Okay. Vishwesh, as I mentioned earlier, the fund aims to provide access to a diversified pool of India's tech and tech-leveraged companies, while also serving as a gateway for US investors. If you could elaborate on the India sentiment, what is it that's attracting American investors to the Indian startup growth story?
Absolutely. If you're sitting, and I was in US for 16 years, I moved to India recently, a year and a half back. But if you look at the sentiment, and if you're sitting in a US, being Indian or Desi, or also non-Desis, who are looking at the rapid growth of India's GDP overall, not just the tech sector, you're like, how can I diversify my portfolio by investing in Indian companies, be it public-facing and private? What we offer as a product is a unique product where you as a US investor sitting in US, and you can invest in US dollars in the Indian private tech sector without going through the hassle of dealing with taxes and all those issues. We take care for the US investor, all of it from start to end. They invest in dollars, they get their K1s, and they get their returns in US dollars. We take care of all of it, give you the broad exposure to whole of the India private tech sector as much as we can with our diversified portfolio.
Okay. Vishwesh, as monetary action in the US slows down and as the Fed pauses, do you see more dollars coming into Indian startups? Will this be the end of funding winter for the Indian startups?
From our vantage point, absolutely. India is one of the fastest big economy in the world. No matter how you slice and dice, there has to be more money flowing in from the US to India in general, and specifically to tech sector, which is the fastest growing sector in India from our perspective.
All right. Before I let you go, one final question. Alphatron Capital claims that it conducts extensive due diligence on multiple funds in India, targeting those with the greatest growth potential. If you could elaborate on how you do this. And the second part of the question is, what are the criteria? And if you could give us a sense of the funding outlook for the next 2 years.
Great. I think there are 2 to 3 parts to it. So let me take step by step. Our due diligence is very straightforward. We have a 2-3-prong approach. We definitely depend on the funds we've invested in to do the first level of due diligence, and that's how we co-invest through them. Second is we have a team locally based out of India, be it the finance side, the investment side, in Bangalore, in Mumbai and Gurgaon. So we do our detailed tech side as well as finance side and also all the other parts due diligence. And to your second part, where do we see going in terms of the Indian sector? We're going to do more of these investments in the tech sector in India based on our strong due diligence framework and look at the strong ROI, who can give us the highest growth with minimum risk from all the different angles what we are seeing.
All right. Okay. Vishwesh, many thanks for joining us on Startup Street today. Again, congratulations on the closing of your first fund, and we'll definitely keep a track of all your investments. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for having us. Look forward to it.
Moving on.